What up, Chatham, Ontario? My name is Jeff Leeson. This is Tig, right?
He asked you a question.
No, I didn't.
You asked him what's up.
Oh.
Fill it out in a letter and let us know. P.O. Box.
What's your address?
No,
Forward all your...
you don't need to do any of that.
I misinterpreted what was happening here.
Absolutely. We are coming to the Kiwanis Theater as part of the non-virtual comedy tour. Now, this show would not be possible without all of our sponsors. First of all, we want to thank Chris McLeod Real Estate.
Thanks, Chris McLeod Real Estate. Thank you.
Maybe make it a little bit more sincere next time.
Thank you, Chris McLeod Real Estate.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Chris McLeod.
Was that warmer?
Yeah, that was warmer. Also, the 3 Beer Pod. It is an excellent podcast.
It's a podcast?
Yeah.
Thank you for sponsoring
They've
us.
sponsored this event. I've been on that show. Chris McLeod is one of the hosts.
From Chris McLeod Real
The
Estate.
same guy.
They're a sponsor.
Yeah, and the other guy is Tim.
Oh, and Tim.
Tim Regan, I think. We also want to thank Doug Robbins from With This Ring.
Oh, I bet you he's got some stories.
Actually, when we booked this, he was in Las Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, marrying people, I would assume.
Like as Elvis or something?
I don't know. He might have just been partying.
I also like to do that.
Which part?
Party.
Oh, I thought you meant marry people.
No.
Thank
you, Doug Robbins.
Yeah, thank you, Doug.
From With This Ring.
We want to thank another sponsor, which is the Sons of Kent Brewery.
That's got to be it for sponsors, right?
You would think it would be, but we're not done there. We also want to thank our media sponsors, 94.3 CKSY.
Is it that kind of radio?
I don't think so. Cool 95.1.
What kind of music do they play?
They play classic hits.
Beethoven's Ninth Concerto.
I don't think it's that.
They say things like, we'll be right Bach. Are they related, the two radio stations?
Yes, and they are also related to a third one, Chatham Kent Country 92.9. We would like to thank all of our sponsors. Without them, we could not do this show.
No.
Literally, it wouldn't happen.
Would not happen. It was wonderful of them to do that for us.
Wasn't it?
Thank you so much.
That was so
Sincerely.
nice. Yeah,
I've been
thank you to
goofing off.
All
but
of them. Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say anything.
Thanks.
Glad you realized.
Everyone.
Tickets for this event are only $30 in advance, or they are $35 if you wait and get them at the door. Get your tickets right now.
Welcome to the podcast. It is season 7, episode number 12. It is Chris and Tim, and we are raring to go. What's going on, Timmy? Your mic's off there. Dude, I'll turn you on here. I can't hear you.
Yeah, just
There you
talking to
go.
myself here. Yes, you'd think 95 episodes in, Cloudy. I remember to turn the mic back on. It was
Wow.
because I was laughing in the background at our intro. That Jeff
love
Leeson's a funny guy, isn't he?
He is already confirmed for an appearance in season 8. Already confirmed.
Season
So
8,
we're looking forward to
episode
that.
1?
Possibly, maybe even
Nice.
2. May 14th, get
Awesome.
your tickets, cktickets.com. Tim, let's get rolling right into the show. We got Mark Hebscher is going to join us a little bit later on the podcast. We always start the pod with, what you drinking, bud? That's when we show off the beers that we're drinking. And tonight, we're going to pull in a special guest for our What You Drinking, Bud segment. And that
That's
is
exciting.
Wayne McMahon, who is here. Hey, Wayne, how are you?
I'm great, Chris. I'm just great.
Good stuff. Where are you joining us from, Wayne? And we'll get into why you're joining us. Where are you
I'm
from?
in Etobicoke, South Etobicoke, Mimico area, they call it.
Very nice. Very nice. Wayne, it was many years ago. I'm at a Toronto Blue Jay game, and I had a great seats, probably 8 rows up. Beer guy comes by, and he's just got this beer call that just made me go, let me get some money out. And that was you.
Yes, it was.
A former beer vendor at the Skydog Rogers Center, whatever you want to call it now. It's been years since you did that, but you lost that gig. We can get into that. But you have spun your famous beer call into kind of a working relationship with Left Field Brewing.
Yes. They approached me about 2 years ago now.
Yep.
When we were all set to introduce their beer left field into the Sky Dome.
Yep.
And COVID arrived, unfortunately, so we were unable to do it together.
Okay.
They still introduced their beer, but I wasn't with them.
Well, let's so Left Field Brewery, who we featured here on the podcast before, but obviously ball season begins this week. It's perfect time. So Wayne, we start the show with what you drinking, bud, and we highlight the 3 beers we're drinking. Tim, where do you want to start? I'll let you kind of direct where we're going with these beers.
No, go ahead. You got
All
them. You found these things. These are gems. I didn't even see these coming, buddy. I'm excited.
Hello, Friends is the first one, and I've already cracked that one.
Yeah, you already cranked that one. It's a lovely IPA. You already cranked that back, buddy.
Yeah, very good, very good. We're going to save the best one for last year, Wayne. Squeeze Play is the other one, and I'm pretty sure we featured this before in the podcast, Tim.
Yeah, it's
peach
delicious.
sour.
Yeah, this
very
is
good.
Freshie. I'm excited for this one. I haven't seen it in a while. And then
Wayne, this one is why don't you here? Let's do this, Wayne. Your famous beer vendor call from the Sky Dome, and then we'll crack into one of these. Give it to us, Wayne.
Introducing the ice cold beer.
I can't believe we got you on the podcast.
Oh, dude, you don't
so
know how
awesome.
excited, Cloudy, that when I saw that come up last week on Left Field's Instagram. I was like, dude, you've been talking about beer guy since we started this podcast, and I was like, we got to get him on. And he's here. That was a great call. Loved it. It's Wayne, such a great beer.
You when did you start as a beer vendor at the Sky Dome? What year did that start?
2003.
And now, was it just ball games, or did you do all events?
I did all of the events at the Rogers Center. And the concerts were great. I got to see some awesome groups, the Stones, Cher. It was great.
Wow. When though, like, you don't show up to the Sky Dome and grab a tray of beers and start selling them and just have this call. Like, when do you introduce the ice cold beer? When do you come up with that?
I came up with the ice cold beer call 2004. I went the first season and thought, I'm just another regular beer guy, and no one's paying a whole bunch of attention to the old guy. And some of these other guys are, they're getting the primos, the groups. So I came up with the ice cold beer call, and the first time I let it go, I watched the reaction of the 7, 8, 9-year-old boys and kids. And they went absolutely crazy. Dad, there's the ice cold beer guy. Call him. The dads are getting swamped by their kids in order for me to sell my beer. I'm going ice cold beer, and they're just absolutely loving it. So I knew I had a hit there. And then it took some while for the adults to jump on board. Yep. It became really a lot of fun.
Like, I remember obviously seeing it live. You're right in front of me, but like, you would be watching Jays games, and you could hear it in the background because there was years there. Yeah, there were years there where there was nobody at the stadium, and you'd hear ice. God, I'd be like, that's Wayne. That's the guy right there. And I thought, so like, does that up your tips? Do you start to make more money?
Oh, I absolutely. Yes, they did. Some parents, fathers, weren't even drinking, but they'd get me over to do the ice cold beer call to their kid and give me a tip anyway. So
that's awesome.
It was just a lot of fun, and yes, it did increase my tips.
That's awesome.
That's
that
the best.
Awesome.
Wayne, what did you do before you became an ice cold beer guy?
I was I was in telecommunications for about 20 years, and sort of introduced the what is now the local calling area. So I had a great time there. And prior to that, I spent 15 years as the pro golf salesman for McGregor Golf in Ontario.
No shit. Good
and
for
I
you.
had That was the job of my lifetime. Had Brunswick not sold that company, I'd still be there. I got to go to every pro golf. I got to every golf course in all of Ontario, but most importantly, I got to meet the greatest of all time, Jack Nicklaus, Weiskopf, and Crenshaw. They were all staff pros, so I had to deal with them when they came into town for the Canadian Open. So great times.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a great life.
That's so cool. So you get the gig in 2003. Are you a beer drinker yourself? Like, be honest. I know you're working with Left Field and you're pushing the ice cold, but like prior to that, were you drink? Well, wait a minute. You're the golf guy. You were drinking beer.
Yeah, I was drinking beer. I love drinking
question.
beer.
Yeah, stupid question. So you were about 5 years on the staff. Something happens where they say you didn't check it. It became a thing where you were let go. And I bet you this happens multiple times, multiple years where somebody in the staff gets let go. But you had gotten such a following that the media jumped on it and there was petition. Obviously, in the end, didn't work. But man, it must have been nice to know that people had your back and they knew who you were.
Oh, it was unreal. My daughter said, "You've gone viral, Dad." No one else was going viral. And yeah, this young fan of mine, he wasn't a beer drinker. He was 14 years old. And he started the petition on Facebook to get the ice cold beer guy, get Wayne back. And they attracted some 22,000 people signed up for this. I mean, it was, to me, unbelievable. And yet Aramark chose not to bring me back.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's all right.
Well, Wayne McMahon, people would recognize you as ice cold beer guy. Like, you would leave the stadium, would people yell, "That's the ice cold beer guy"? Like, did that just follow you around?
It did. And at first I was a little, but then it was just fabulous. You know, I'd be on a streetcar, I'd riding a bike or whatever I was doing. Somebody would recognize me. They'd pull up right beside me. I recall this time that this car cut me off. I was cycling. He cut me off and I was all set to give him my you're stupid. And he opened his window and went, "Ice cold beer guy."
Smooth it right over.
No, I can't do this. I can't yell and scream in cars anymore.
Oh, that's funny. Did you ever have to pay for a beer though? Like, would you go into a bar and people would just be like, "No, it's ice cold beer. I want to buy him a beer"?
Yes, yeah. Anytime downtown, it was given that I walk in and I'd get recognized immediately. Sign my ice cold beer. Sign my this. Sign my that. And buy me a beer. Sometimes too many beer.
No such thing, Wayne. No such thing.
I know.
So then how did this Left Field connection come together? Obviously, there's a beer, ice cold beer. It seems like, hey, like, what came first? Did the beer come first? Or did your connection with Left Field? When did that
they developed the beer, and then I believe it was Mark called me up and texted me, and we started a conversation. Then he asked me, and I said, "Absolutely, I'd love to just do something to get your beer promoting, and of course, I'd be glad to use my ice cold beer call to introduce your beer."
That's awesome.
So we had that all set to go. Unfortunately,
I'm imagining you have a fridge full of ice cold beers, though. Like, I imagine that's part of the deal.
Well, I had some beer. Yes, they dropped off some beverages to me. No kidding. So, and my there was just it was my son-in-law and I. We sampled them. There were sample packages, so we had a good time.
That's fantastic.
I can imagine. Wayne, we thought it would kind of a neat tie-in, the baseball season, Left Field Brewery, the ice cold beer guy, to have you on here all at the same time. Thanks for jumping on here tonight. I think it's neat that we finally connected, because I've told Tim, I'm like, there was this guy at the Sky Dome and he had this call and it just echoed through, and I thought it was so cool. So
love it.
Wayne, we appreciate it, buddy.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. I'm Tim, and much appreciated. And listen, you enjoy yourself and have a ice cold.
Yes.
That's
Cheers,
awesome.
Wayne. Thanks, buddy.
Cheers.
You have yourself a night.
Guys.
See you, buddy.
Thanks,
Go
Wayne.
Jays. Oh, say Wayne. That's awesome. That is
Oh,
awesome.
dude.
Have some beer.
How awesome is that, dude? You've been saying ice cold beer since we got ice cold beer. And when I saw it last week, I was like, dude, this is amazing. And we talked to him on Friday night, and jumped on here today. That's awesome.
got him on the horn, connected with him. I think that's pretty neat. And you know what? There's probably anybody that's been to this guy. Well, was at the Skydome back in those days? They're like, I know the call, but like, would they know it's Wayne McMahon? Probably not.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how I added him on Facebook. I don't even know how. I think I saw a name pop up. I'm like, that's the ice cold beer guy. Comes around.
That's awesome. Yeah,
It
that's
works.
great.
It
What a
works.
great tie-in. We're excited for this week, eh, buddy?
Yeah.
Baseball season.
I am so geeked.
I know
I
you
am
are.
so geeked. Yeah. It
Open
was
day.
100 days of a baseball season locked out by the owners. And it wasn't like until the 80th day where they finally were like, well, let's see if we can negotiate something. Like a bunch of dummies, right? Like it took forever. But yeah, ball season's back. I'm pumped. I can't wait. Hockey, like this is one of my favorite times of the season as hockey winds down to the playoffs. And then you've got ball on and got Masters this weekend. So we're going to talk about all that. Mark Hebscher is going to join us here in a couple of minutes. So while we wait for Hebsy to jump on here on the podcast, let's throw a thank you out to our sponsors here on the potty tonight. Timmer, what do you got?
Oh, Chris McLeod Realty. This guy's sneaky. He almost talked me into buying a house.
Well,
I
don't
don't
say
know.
that. That
I
doesn't
didn't even
sound
know
good.
I didn't even know it's in the market. Chris McLeod Realty. This guy can sell a house to a guy who's already got a house if you wanted to.
Hey, what's better than a house? Two houses.
Two houses. That's fantastic. If you're looking to buy or sell, you talk to Chris McLeod over at Realty House. This is a hot market. Hot market. If you're looking to buy or sell, you better be ready to pull the trigger because people want to buy them.
Here's the thing too, Tim. I should throw this out here. I don't ever mention this. Is that if you're just wondering, like, what could I get for my house? We could talk. Or how's the process work? No commitment. There's no fee on that. So give me a call.
Yeah, fantastic. Shauna over at the Health House, as always, making people healthy. Check out the healthhouseck.com. And a final shout out to our friends over at the PSL. They're in the off season right now.
Yeah.
Cloudy, they're building up for what I think the season starts maybe next week. I'm not even sure how their season. I think they have 3 seasons a year.
PSL
Actually,
Insider.
yeah, check it out. Check them out on the Facebook because Lord knows they check our stuff out.
They
all
do.
the time. And those are our sponsors
There you go.
here on the Three Beer Podcast.
I like you're the PSL Insider, but yeah, you've missed the championship game. Like you just totally missed it altogether.
What a bummer, right?
Yeah.
What a bummer. I can't believe I think the zone didn't work that weekend or something.
You know who would know? Okay, if you're the Pakistan Super League Insider, let's see if the legendary Mark Hebscher knows anything about the Pakistan Super League of the cricket variety. Hebsy's on the podcast. Hey, Hebsy, what is going on, buddy?
I was watching it the other day.
That's good stuff, isn't it?
I kid you not.
Come on.
I'm moving my parents out of their building, so the next door neighbor is snooping around because he's like, oh yeah, what do you got in there? Because we're moving stuff out and we got the junk man coming and basically giving stuff away that my parents have had in this apartment for 33 years. And so, he wants this armoire, which is, weighs 600 pounds. And, he's really not going to do it by himself. And I'm like, okay, anything to get it out of here. So I'm helping him. So I take it into his apartment and, what's on? It's the Pakistani Super League.
Come on.
It's
You're serious?
man, it's
Season started again.
174 overs or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, Sri Lanka's got a good squad. Bangladesh, tough squad. And then
That's what I've been saying all season.
Off I go. Right. I'm trying to get some Bodog odds on the games, but it's very difficult.
Hebsy, we've named him a sponsor because what would happen is we would post these podcasts on Facebook and then they would put in a complaint every single week. For some reason, the Pakistan Super League targeted us. So we've added them as a sponsor. They still haven't agreed to be a guest, though.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a pretty slim audience, though, I would think.
It's a niche market for sure.
A niche market. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. However, it does, there are hundreds of millions of people that watch it, though, right? Worldwide.
Yeah. It is.
Maybe not in this neck of the woods, but think about the worldwide popularity. Right. And think about when people talk about basketball in China before Yao Ming. It was like, good luck with that.
Right.
So, you never know.
You never know.
Your grandkids could be super, league players for Canada.
Quite
never
a
know.
strong possibility.
Never know.
Hebsy, your second appearance here on the podcast, and we really appreciate you joining us here. We were looking, we're like, we just had Hebsy on. Like, I didn't want to ask too early. I hate asking somebody who's just been on, but we looked. It was season 2, episode 6, August 11th of 2020, and it literally seems like it was 3 weeks ago.
I'll take that as a compliment. Thanks. Yeah. No, it does. Listen, I remember fondly the 3 beer pod.
Yeah,
Fondly.
Well, finally. Well, that's
Well, I mean, I remember the beers I had, and just how I felt the other day. You know, not a good idea to mix different beers on a hot August day.
Yeah,
That's fair.
During the pandemic, just
Hebsy, we're geeked because this week we're ball fans. We're big ball fans. Finally, baseball's back, so we want to talk. Like this week has got everything. We got ball. We got hockey playoffs are just around the corner. Got Masters coming up. We just had
Tiger's going to play in the Masters.
Is that confirmed now? I haven't seen.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's
got to, right?
But trust me, he's not going to come this far and say, "No, I'm not going to do it." For sure, he's got to go out there now. Yeah, he's playing.
Do you put money on him though? Do you think it's Tiger? It's hard to not
win.
Yeah. No.
He said today he thought he could win.
Well, yeah, but wait a second. Come on. Look at the way they asked the question. It's a softball question.
Fair enough.
Okay? That's a softball question. The guy who asked the question. Now, they took it sort of out of context, but the first question was, do you think you can win? And he basically goes, yeah, of course. Like, but how else would anyone answer? Like, seriously, now, if you're asking anyone else, listen, I'm hoping for top 10. Right? But I mean, the answer in advance. The way you have to ask it is, and it takes some balls, you have to say, what makes you think after missing 14 months of walking properly, never mind playing competitive golf, that you can beat the best players in the world?
Right.
And then he asks answers saying, well, I know it might be a long shot but I'm feeling pretty good and I have won here 6 times or what. But instead the question was just so raw bones, like, oh, come on. Of course, you know what he's going to say.
That's
Softball
fair.
question.
That's fair. Well, have you given a non-softball question before? And
That's
the
all
athlete's the athlete's like, screw you, Hebsy. Like,
yeah.
Well, I have. You have
because
an example of a reaction where they're just like, "Why are you asking me that question, man?" They want the softball question.
First of all, the way the press conferences are now, they're all like that, right? Yeah. So there is no one-on-one. So when I started, you could go to a guy's locker or grab him in the hallway or wherever and get a one-on-one. And at the worst, you would get what's called a scrum, where 4 or 5 reporters or cameras or 5 or 8 or 10 or 12 or 15 or 20 are gathering around a particular player, at his locker or in a designated area. And that's called a scrum. And if you're going to ask a question, man, ask a good question. But generally, you're asking a question that you need a reaction from. You don't want to, a softball question, you're going to get a softball answer. You're going to have no credibility as a reporter. You need to be face to face. So, naturally, yours truly I could never throw the softball question. That's for the team broadcaster, basically.
Right. That's
because they're talking to Leaf fans or Jays fans or whoever the team is. I get that, right? But the reporter has to ask something, right? And some guys will ask it and get their asses kicked by the respondent, the coach, a stare, whatever. But man, sometimes you got to ask it. And then it borders on, sometimes it's the ridiculous. You can tell the reporter is baiting the player, and there's that fine line. I once listened, Mike Milbury, I think I mentioned this before, that Boston against Edmonton, 1990 Stanley Cup final. Game 1, Peter Klima scores in triple overtime in Boston. Edmonton wins game 1. Game 2, Edmonton wins again, 7-3, I think was in Boston. Like the Bruins were booed off the ice. They were terrible in that second game, really horrible. Mike Milbury comes out for the post-game interview, and there's a bunch of us in this hallway, with a table, the kind that you would find at the fairgrounds, just like one of those, long wooden tables. That's what they had. A bunch of microphones on it. Our microphone was on it. I'm on deadline. First couple questions are from local reporters. It's always like that. The local reporter, whoever knows the coach the best or whatever, asks the first question, or in this case, the PR person, you find anyway, the first couple questions are softball questions, and I'm on deadline. And finally I go, Mike, is your team humiliated in there? And he goes, farg off. He doesn't say it that way. Everybody stops. It's 1990. And he's looking right at me and he farg off. He goes, you know, we lose our composure and da-da-da. He goes, that's a stupid fargan question. Right. And everyone's like staring at me. And I'm thinking, what, like, was it a stupid question? Because when I asked it, I honestly thought he would answer some way like, yeah, they're humiliated and they should be humiliated. We stunk the joint out. I'm humiliated. But I did not expect him to respond by just looking at me and just telling me to F off. Like, that was just like, what did you just say? And then to continue to say, you know, it's a stupid question. Because normally when a coach or something says that's a stupid question, it means it was a damn good question, right? It means it was a good question. It was like, I don't want to answer that question. You knew I didn't want to answer that question. Why the hell did you ask me that question? And that's what you need, because a fan would ask that question.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right.
What like, are you like, what are they? What's it like in the locker room? Are they humiliated? And like, he could have said to me, no, they're dancing around doing an Irish jig.
Yeah.
He could have said that, and that would have been okay, and that would have put me in my place as far as but he just swore at me, right?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Jays this year. There's so much excitement. I'm almost like trying to just hold it in, because everything looks good, man. It is looking like a good team this year. I know Tim's a Tigers fan, so we've got to kind of tread lightly. Otherwise,
crushes me.
Yeah.
Let it go. I'm good. I'll just sit back here.
Yeah, but Tim, you got to admit though, the Jays have a pretty talented team.
I never admit it.
Spending the money. They spend the money.
Yeah,
that's
you guys don't.
I just hate the
Tigers don't
so much. That's okay. I'll just.
But the Tigers don't spend money.
No, well, they put a lot into Miguel Cabrera. I'll just sit back.
Right.
Talk to us about the Jays. I'll just sit back.
And how do you feel about that? No, I want to know how you feel about that. All that money they put into Cabrera. Is it
at the time, it was perfectly needed. At the time, it was perfectly needed. We needed Miguel Cabrera. At the time, I had no concerns. Heck no, because I just wanted to win at that point in time, right? I wasn't thinking long term.
No.
Yeah, now we're in different shape.
I think this team, the way they are now, I think you're looking at seriously 4 years of like what could be a dominant team. And I know that's way, but look at the talent, and it's developing talent. I mean, I don't see Vladimir Guerrero getting worse or plateauing, nor Bo, nor Teoscar for that matter, even at his age. I mean, he's coming to his prime years. You lock this team up, lock these guys up, and go get them.
This is a team
that's great.
That has more money than probably 90% of the majors, and they've just sat on it for how much money does Rogers have to spend? And finally, they're investing, and we're seeing it. And there's like every player that is somebody, they're talking about it. We're going back to like 92, 93 years where it was like, man, they're in on everybody.
Well, think about that stretch starting in 85. You could actually start in 84 when those dreaded Tigers ran away with it, right? But the Jays were a great team that year too. And then 85, 86, no, 87, oh, terrible, right? 88, almost came within 2 games. 89, yes, made the playoffs, got wiped out by Oakland. 90, 91, right? 92, 93. So there was a stretch there of like 7 out of 8 years, or 6 out of 8 years where they were in the postseason, and ultimately with 2 championships. This is the way you have to sort of shape that team. You have to look at them and say, all right, do we have a 6-year window with these guys? Well, yeah, you kind of do.
I'm glad you're saying I'm not crazy for being as excited as I am, because I'm trying to temper my emotions. I'm like, man, I don't want them to go out and start 2-8 and then be like,
But even if they start 2-8, come on, look, come on, 2-8. Yeah, think about it. Jimmy Williams, the year he was fired, was 12-24. The Jays were 12-24 in 1989. 12-24. Yeah. That's brutal. And then they came back and they won it under Cito. They went 77-49 the rest of the way, I think it was. So, okay, it can be done. Yeah, but in this case here, even if they do get off to a slow start, they have the talent. And it looks to me like they have the depth. And that's always a key. I mean, everything's contingent on health. I don't want to hear any excuses that say, well, if we were healthy in any shape or form, because injuries are part of the game. So I never want to hear, well, if they stay healthy, they can win. No kidding. Really? Gee.
Softball
question. If we stay healthy, do you think? And that's another thing. Please don't ask these questions. Reporters, please don't ask the question like this. How important is it to you to win tonight's game? A, very important. B, not very important. C, kind of important. D, not too important at all. be the most incredibly important game I've ever had in my life. Like, come on, how important? Like, what level of importance? That's such a bad question.
Stupid. I gotcha. Give Timmy a bone here. What do the Tigers look like? What are you thinking? Or do you follow the Tigers at all?
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Chris, now come on. Come on, still.
Say it.
I like your outfield. It reminds me of a young Blue Jay outfield, like almost,
Yeah.
like maybe Barfield Mosby Bell of the mid 80s. Like that's a good looking outfield.
That's exciting. That's
pitching.
exciting to
I don't
hear.
know about pitching, although man,
Yeah.
you know what? Drew Hutchison made the team this year, right?
Yeah, it's
In the bullpen, eh?
Yeah,
kind of a makeshift pitching staff.
it is, and that's going to be their downfall.
I'm going down for some games this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, you have to hear this is a good story. You'll like this. So I had
Yeah.
tickets for 7 Blue Jay games, right? Which have all now been canceled. So a month ago, I'm sitting on 5, sets of tickets down in spring training because we're down there.
Oh, yeah.
We take our trip down there. We got tickets for 5 games.
Nice.
And for the first 2 games this year, which were wiped out in the series that was supposed to be going on this week. So that's 7 games. So I haven't seen them, right? But I have to have tickets for all these games, but I'm getting refunded on all of them. But you think you're dying to see them.
Yeah.
I had the tickets, man.
You
I was
had them,
down in
didn't
spring training. I almost, I missed them by like 1 day.
That's on the bucket list. I have not been to a spring training game, and I've wanted to go for years. Just to get to spring training, just to bounce around Dunedin and like Lakeland, and
No, Lakeland's nowhere near Dunedin. No, you want Clearwater.
Clearwater.
That's right there next to Dunedin. It's beautiful. Tampa, right there. St. Pete, beautiful.
It'll happen. It's got to happen. I'm just kind of I'm keeping an eye here. The Leafs are playing. So if you're listening to this, obviously it was Tuesday night. Leafs are playing Florida. Leafs. Again, I try to temper my excitement. When the Leafs are good, they're like dominant. When they're bad, they're a tire fire burning out of control. And they're hot right now.
Leaf fan, though. You know that, Chris.
Like, how important is it for them to win tonight, Mike?
Oh, no. I'm not going to answer any questions. How important? It's really not important at all, Chris. No, think about it. It's not important at all. I don't think there is any importance to any one game here. Yeah. No matter what, no matter how many goals Austin Matthews scores, and he's great. Mm-hmm. I love watching this guy play. But man, show me that you can lead your team in the playoffs, and I think he can. Having said that, I do think he can. I think he's matured, and I think all of them have matured to the point where, okay, you know what? We got bounced last year. We know we're better than that. We know we can do it. We know not to let up. We know that Dermott's not on the team anymore, so he's not going to give the puck away in overtime. We know that what's-his-face isn't on the team anymore. Can't even remember his name now. From last year in the playoffs.
Galchenyuk.
Yeah. Right? Long forgotten.
Yeah. He was our second line winger last year.
Yeah. With egregious giveaways. Egregious giveaways. One in their defensive zone and one in the offensive zone. Like, what? In overtime.
Yeah.
And Carey Price. So there you go. This year, I'm sure it's going to be, look, we can beat Tampa Bay. We can maybe we can beat Florida. We should be able to beat Boston. But let's see. 7-game series, man. You never know. You just never know in any sport.
I feel like if they get a series win, look out. Like the cost, because they haven't experienced that before.
I agree. Chris, you're right. Just get over the hump and see what happens. Get over the hump.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of NHL, Tim, did you see this? So yesterday there was a tweet out, and maybe Hebsy, you saw it too, that Mike Bossy had basically rest in peace. Bossy's not doing well. He's battling lung cancer.
Yeah, grave
condition. But he's still alive. Like that just tore across the internet yesterday. It was going viral.
That he died?
No, yeah. But he's not dead. He's at home. He's resting at home. He's still fighting.
Did it? Yeah, but the thing is, did it? Like who? Like I just saw it trending, and then I know he's in palliative care.
Yeah.
And so really, it's like a death watch. Like who's going to be the first to tweet it, or is it legit or not?
That's not fun.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's too bad.
Like, do you think in sports nowadays there's a little too much of that, and maybe not just sports and news altogether, is trying to get that news first, not necessarily right, just being the first one to have it.
It's almost like you go to your boss the way you would negotiate your baseball contract or your hockey contract, by saying I had this many goals or I had this many home runs. You go, I broke this many stories, or I would hate to have to do that. That's just like creepy, if you ask me. Be the first to get it. Make sure you get it right. Like, which means you've got to use, the 5 tenets of journalism: who, what, when, where, why, how.
Yeah.
And the other thing is you got to ensure that your source is an impeccable source, that whoever told you this, isn't somebody high up in the organization, not good enough. I'm sorry. Someone you've been sleeping with. Okay. Right. Or that's different, right? I mean, the parent of someone, or the brother, let's say, or sister of someone, like, for example, that's different. But I mean, sometimes someone says, well, who told you this? I say, well, this executive. They say, really? You might want to get another source. You might want to get a second independent source. And I don't think most journalists nowadays understand that. They're running with, that's good enough source for me. It's not always true. Get burned that way.
Hebsy, I was going through your Facebook page. I want to ask you about a couple of these pictures here of you with, well, first of all.
Oh, yeah, the boys.
Yeah.
The lads.
So, what's going on? Go give us a background. So obviously Gord Downey and
the Gords, the 2 Gords. Very high.
Gord Sinclair, yeah.
You have to understand, very high Gord factor, okay? Very high Gord factor. Think about it. 40% Gord factor in the tragedy. Yeah. And so, when you're with the Gords, there's a certain power that you have when you go. This was in Washington, D.C. They're playing the 930 Club in Washington, which is a great club. Yep. And before the gig, which, I guess is, 9:30 or whatever time they're on stage, we're at a bar, the Rockpile Bar in Washington, like in a pretty, and it was an okay area, I guess, to watch the Leafs in the playoffs that year. I forget what year this was, around 2000, something like that. No, maybe before that. Anyway, so we're there, and Johnny's there, and Rob is there. I think Rob might have taken. No, my brother took this picture. That's right. My brother took this picture. And these people in the bar, they don't know. They're tragically hip from a bar of soap. They don't. We're these guys, right? And we're like, we're hanging out with the tragically hip, taking pictures and stuff like that. And we asked a request, and they said sure, and went backstage because our friend Jake Gold, very good friend Jake Gold, was their manager, right? And so, just peeling, labels off beer bottles, and everyone was a smoker at that time too. Everybody smoked darts, me included.
Wow,
smoked darts.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. In my left hand there, that's my camera bag. Like I've got a 35 mil Pentax there. Yeah, there's no cell phones or anything like that. This is
so. Did you
99?
Did Gord Downey? Did you know? Like, obviously, you were a huge name across Canada. Sportsline was like a big deal. Like, did Gord recognize, and was there a connection, or was?
Oh yeah. With all the guys, though, really, right? No, I wouldn't say Gord any more than any of the guys. In fact, Johnny and I probably spent the most time together, like on the road or whatever. Like, I probably spent more. I spent more quality time with Johnny. Yeah, but I golfed with like Gord Sinclair and Paul are both avid golfers. Played with them, quite a bit. And Downey and I got into a couple of good discussions, heavy discussions one night at this motel, I guess it would be, in San Francisco, where you enter your room from the courtyard from outside, right? So we're sitting outside getting into some heavy argument or whatever, blowing some doobies at the same time, sure. Absolutely. And we're hearing people go, quiet down there, you guys. Which, normally musicians for sure aren't used to. Like, forget it. Like, we're used to making noise. So, I got into discussions with them, and I had been, some had been to my home, and I'd been to their home. And
wow.
I just,
awesome.
They were pretty young, I guess. Not a huge age difference between those guys and me.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Hebsy,
you're a legend. The Hebsy on Sports podcast. You can download it. How's that going for you? How are you liking that?
It's great. I like being my own boss. I like choosing who my guests are going to be. I'm not doing the show. See, this producer friend once told me, he says, if you're doing something for someone else, you got it all wrong. Do something that you want to watch, that you want to see.
Yeah.
Like, produce something that you really want to see. Make something that you want to. And hopefully other people will see it the same way and go, that's really cool. Yeah. However goofy it might be. But so, I'm doing a show that's me, that's commenting on, important stories that I've been following, like the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Toronto Blue Jays, the Toronto Raptors, TFC, Canada's national men's soccer team, the Masters, big events, whatever Canadians are playing in big world events. I'm an F1 fan too. Television ratings, radio ratings, podcast ratings. That's what we talk about. And if there's some big deal going on, obviously we'll get into what do I got this week. Yeah. That question to Tiger Woods is sort of, one of the little beefs I've got there. It's like, it's the Masters time. Let's all bow down. Do you think you could win, Tiger? Well, that's something I'm probably gonna go off on. Just these are the things that just annoy me. I'm not being like a grumpy old man, but that type of and by the same token, I'm just super more impressed with Austin Matthews than I can believe. I mean, the guy's got incredible talent. I've not seen a player like this guy. Like I've seen some I've not seen a player that has the combined talents of this guy.
We're going to be looking like our grandkids. Well, at some point, I'm going to go, did you ever see Austin Matthews play? Like, it's hard to imagine because this is a once in a lifetime player that we're sitting back and we're watching right now. And
yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? Generational player. It looks like it.
Yeah.
It looks like,
For sure.
And like, again, the same caveat with everything else. Connor McDavid, every other pro, you can talk about Bobby Orr all you want. And he was great. He was great, but man, those knees, but he was great when he was great.
You're right.
And he was, he was an incredible and changed the game. And I'm not sure since that time, anyone, with the exception of Gretzky, has changed the game. There's only so many changes you can make. But as far as the quote unquote generational player, yeah, this Austin Matthews has everything it takes and is on that track the same way, although he's a couple years behind McDavid. The same track, except championships. You got to have the championships, man.
It's important to win these games. Very much. Hebsy, appreciate it, buddy. We'll have to get you on again at some point. We didn't even get into the soccer. We got so many things. Pakistan Super League. We'll get an update on the next visit. Hebsy, thanks, buddy. Have a good one.
Take it easy.
Hebsy on Sports.
Thanks, Hebsy.
Download the podcast. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. That's a lot of fun here. Let's do the merry-go-round, get us all back in our right spots here. The Three Beer Pod continues. What a dude. I love that guy.
Hebsy's a dude that you can just sit there and talk all night to, right?
Yeah.
Just a good dude. And man, what a memory on that guy. I had a hard time thinking about what I had for lunch today, and he's telling us the details of the 1990 playoffs. It's like,
how cool would it be to sit at the Rock Pile Bar having beers with Hebsy and the gourds from the Tragically Hip pop by for a hang?
That's a good night of having some beers. I love the sitting there peeling the labels off beer and smoking darts. That sounds like a good night.
Hebsy on Sports is the name of his podcast. You can go grab it right now. He was last on season 2, episode 6. And
dude, that seems like it's not that long ago. I was going to ask him if he was writing anything else right now. The book that he wrote, the greatest athlete you've never heard of. I listened to that on audiobook, and he narrates it, so it's like, what a great story.
And that voice from Sportsline with Jim Taddy and all those Hebsy awards. Man, you go back and listen to the first or watch the first podcast that he was on, season 2, episode 6, because we get into a little Sportsline background, the Hebsy awards. Dude can just shoot the shit, man. He's just a good dude. Yeah, good dude. And he decided not to drink nothing but blue Gatorade this time. He got into one.
Not a bad choice, to be honest.
No, he's on to something there. Tim, I got a couple things in the beer buzz. I'm just trying to find it. There you go. The beer buzz. What's going on in the beer world tomorrow? So this week, Tim, down in the U.S., 1933 was when the prohibition was lifted. So
lifted. That's a good day.
It was lifted.
All right.
So it ended. So Wednesday, whenever you're watching this, so Wednesday of this week, the 6th of April is New Beer's Eve. And then on Thursday, it's Beer Day in the U.S. because that's when, prohibition was lifted. You could buy alcohol once again.
Yeah, buddy. That's the second anniversary of the Three Beer Podcast. That's
you were right.
We started on that day right there, buddy.
Did we?
Yeah. I think so. Didn't that make sense?
Yeah. Would have made sense at the time.
Was International Beer Day. I think.
Was it International Beer Day or was it you? Well, look.
It was. I'm telling you. It was.
Yeah. Okay.
It's our anniversary, guys.
Cheers to us.
We still fight a little bit. But
we work out. We talk. We communicate.
We work it out. Good communication over some beers. It's all possible, guys. It's our anniversary. He forgot about it, and that's okay. I won't get him a gift.
We'll see if we can get past this one. I had something else here. Just trying to find it now. What else do I have here? In the beer buzz, there was beer drops. That's all the news I got for you. Beer drops. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is.
Okie dokie. I like
All
beer
right,
drop.
beer drops. The head. That's from Miller Lite. Beer drops. They're introducing it. What the hell is it? Great question.
What is it? Now I'm intrigued. Now I got all night, buddy. I'll wait.
I've got it here. I'm just trying to find it. It's like 17 pages. Okay.
This is quite a news release.
Yeah. What's a beer drop? Even if you don't actually buy the product, it got your attention and made you curious, which is exactly what brands want most, your attention. Whether the focus is clearly on that more than the actual launch of a new product, this is a strong marketing move for Miller Lite, which also makes tongue-in-cheek comment on I don't know what the hell it is.
What does this read? I'm here. I'm
Don't worry, this will never make the final pod.
We're not leaving.
Beer drops from Miller Lite. I'll have to. We'll have to file another report in season 8. That's a cliffhanger that you'll just have to hang on for.
That was the best.
I don't know. I think I printed it off, and the page that had the most information is sitting on the printer. How important is it to print off that page? Very important.
I don't even think this is a real thing.
Yeah, it probably is not. It probably
it is. What is
it?
I have no idea.
All right, cut. We'll edit this point. Let's leave a blank space. We'll edit this out. All right, we're back. Welcome to the podcast. Man, Hebsy was great, eh?
Oh, man, it was the best. That guy's
what
awesome.
a dude. Let's get to one of our favorite segments of the podcast. That is General Lee speaking, and that's when we give a recap of a past episode of the Dukes of Hazzard. We're up to season 1, episode 5 now of the Dukes that aired on February 23rd, 1979, and this is the teaser we saw on TV that week.
I don't believe it.
They're guilty. They are guilty.
You're making moonshine, and I got orders to nail you. You're under arrest.
You know, Bo, this just ain't our day.
All right.
You all settle down and hang around.
There you go.
I'm always impressed with the lack of construction on the buildings that they drive through.
Building codes were a lot different.
They must have been.
Yeah.
They must have been.
Couple things I want to hit. First of all, John Schneider's got a birthday this week. I think it's 62. But Schneids has got a birthday. So happy birthday, Bo.
Happy birthday, Bo.
And then the officer there that's on the ground, you're under arrest. Still got her kiss from Bo. She was pretty happy about that. All right, here's the background on season 1, episode 5, General Lee speaking. Jesse fires up the old moonshining still for a good cause. The Federal Energy Commission is seeking a substitute for fossil fuels in a clean fuel contest in which the grand prize is $20,000. The Dukes decide to enter Jesse's famous moonshine recipe in the contest because it once worked as fuel in Black Tilly, Jesse's old moonshining car. When Boss Hogg hears about the contest, he sets out to steal Jesse's moonshine recipe to use as his own entry in the contest in order to win the money. Meanwhile, federal agent Roxine Huntley is in town to investigate possible moonshine running. What are those old Duke boys going to get up to? We'll see after the break. Got one thing, too, I noticed there. I used to think Boss Hogg was a lot fatter. Now I'm like, it's not that bad.
Come on.
I'm like,
can you tell me what the name of Uncle Jesse's car was?
Black Tilly.
Tilly.
Not the pickup, but the moonshine running car he had.
Tilly.
I
want to see what that looks like.
Look up old Black Tilly. Those
Black
Duke
Tilly.
boys. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of Generally Speaking on the 3 Beer Pod. I got an old buddy here tonight. If we can fit this in, you want to do an old buddy?
I thought you said I've got an old buddy here today. I was like, we have another guest dropping by. Holy smokes!
Let's get this all in here.
Season finale.
Okay, the headline.
Season finale today.
This is the season finale. We should have told everyone that.
The best time to drop that is near the end.
Here's the headline: Never pass on passing gas. Oh, buddy. A 19-year-old woman had to be hospitalized after her refusal to fart around her boyfriend for 2 years caused her appendix to burst.
This doesn't add up.
That doesn't add up.
This doesn't make any sense. What? This
So
is
here,
not
let me read it.
real.
I do hold in my farts, but I didn't think I would be in a hospital over it, said Kara Clark after her dangerous gas buildup. She said she first realized everything wasn't copacetic after experiencing an extreme pain in her stomach while working at her coffee shop last Tuesday. Alarmed, the teen reported to the doctor, who subsequently referred the distraught gal to the hospital. I was in so much pain I couldn't hold my tears, she said. I was limping when I was walking all hunched over. It was then that she decided to spill the beans to doctor about her refusal to let her rip. At hospital, I started blaming my boyfriend because I do always hold my farts in around him, she confessed. She claims she's easygoing despite an aversion to burping or farting. The backed up barista added, we've been together for 2 years and it's still the case. Blood test reveals that her appendix had burst, a condition known as appendicitis. I can't say that. Yeah, you guys know. Would need to undergo surgery. How do you say that? I don't know how to say it.
I'm just
her
not sure
large-
how this is going. I'm not sure. Why couldn't she just sneak off into another room and fart?
Well, that's what I'm thinking here. Suffice to say, her 21-year-old boyfriend, Kyle, was reportedly dying laughing over the fact that foregoing farting could prove so dire. Could you see him in the other room?
He almost killed a lady because she wouldn't fart in front of him.
Yeah.
Where did you get this story from?
The news, Tim, the news. He honestly didn't know what to say, the girl said. He said, God, people are going to think you're afraid of everything with me. Well, that seems an obtuse reaction to a paramour's pain. Clark claims that humor helped her get through the excruciating ordeal.
Yep.
Thankfully, her appendectomy went off without a hitch. It was pretty busy, so I was there overnight, and then the next day, they did the operation in the afternoon. That's when I got my appendix out. The patient was discharged on Thursday, whereupon she started taking powerful painkillers. She hopes to be back at work in the next week or two. Needless to say, her surprise condition made a splash on TikTok. Kyle just basically called and knew I'd posted the TikTok video. We always take the piss out of each other. Let me see if there's a finish here.
Did you forget
in light of her
page on the printer again?
Yes. In light of her agonizing saga, Clark plans to never hold in her farts again. At this stage, I'll just have to let it out from now on. Oh, buddy.
There's so many things with this story that I'm just not sure about.
Now, here's the funny thing. I thought I'd read this story before, but this is the second story in a month. About a month ago, there's a woman in Brazil who is like a Brazilian pop star that everybody knows. Everyone's like, what's her name? Vivian Lecorneas Pereira. Everyone knows her. She's like popular in Brazil. She had to be hospitalized after her reluctance to fart in front of her significant other resulted in a dangerous methane buildup.
The
real thing. Yeah, backed up inside her.
I'll tell you one thing that's never going to happen to me. Both of those conditions that you just described.
Oh, buddy. That's the way we should wrap up season 7 there.
That's something, man. If we never come back for season 8, I think
this is how we've left the world, Tim. If we end up in a merge after a dangerous gas buildup.
Right. It's been a good run, buddy.
It was.
We've almost been doing this for 2 years now.
Yeah, our anniversary's this week, dummy.
It's so sentimental. I think I might shed a tear now.
Yeah.
And maybe I have to go fart.
For 2 years, she couldn't slip out the back door. I'll let the dog out.
Slip out the back door.
No, literally, she couldn't let it slip out the back door.
Where are we going with this? This is good. Ice cold beer guy tonight, buddy. That made my day.
Let's watch this again. This is from Left Field Brew.
Ice
Oh,
That's awesome.
I
He
got
sat
it.
in the green room and watched Hebsy too. That was awesome.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
didn't
see
know
him in
we
the
were going to
background?
get rid of Ice Cold Beer Guy.
Yeah, I thought he was
thought he-
standing at the end for a nice
I
cold
know.
beer.
We might have to talk to him. He's still kind of in the background here. All right,
Yeah.
guys, that's it. That is the podcast for season 7. It's in the books. We're going to take a couple weeks off. We do have some guests that are lined up for season 8. Hopefully one of them is us. Hopefully we can return. Methane
We'll make
and
up,
all.
guys. We'll make up.
Yeah, we'll settle things. Cheers, Timmer. Thanks for an awesome season 7, guys.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Cloudy.